No one wants to get a phone call today, because if you get a phone call today and asked to go and see the Prime Minister, that means you're getting the chop.
Today's sacking day, is it?
Today is when Cameron kind of tries to do it discreetly, so you don't have to walk up Downing Street. You just go to his office in the Commons and he says, "Thank you very much for your service, but this isn't quite right." Cameron hates these conversations, and he often blurts out something that causes him trouble down the line. But
because they always go to the press and say he was cradling a glass of wine when he sacked me or something.
Or he makes some promise about the future, an attempt to suggest that all hope is not lost. But I think tomorrow we'll see the stars of the reshuffle. I think you're going to see themes here. It's meant to address some of the weaknesses of a Tory brand. So it's a very good reshuffle for you if you're going to be a woman or you're from a working class or northern background. I think you're going to see Esther McVey basically made Minister for Television, which makes some sense. Seeing Minister for TV is in to go out and defend the government on TV.
Sure, but what would her official title be?
I think she'll get Ken Clarke's old job of Minister without portfolio. One of the reasons she won't get a department, and this is I think quite an important part of the reshuffle, is Cameron has basically been persuaded that people in marginal seats like Esther McVey shouldn't be given a department to run or a ministerial job unless that's going to help them get re-elected. So for example, Penny Mordaunt in Portsmouth, you can send her to defence because that's a kind of clear constituency interest. But apart from that, I think Cameron's quite reluctant to send people with wafer-thin majorities into non-vote winning departments. One other thing, this reshuffle is also going to reveal the fact that Tories are fighting on several fronts at the next election. Priti Patel is going to get a ministerial job. One of the reasons why is that number 10, they're very excited by the fact they think that she has the ability to attack both Labour and UKIP. And I think that's a reminder of the fact that Tories are fighting on more than one front at the next election.
Isabel, Priti Patel has had these capacities for 4 years now. I find it very odd that she's been left out. In fact, the funny thing is that Cameron talks about his women problem, and they say that, you know, Theresa Villiers is for the chop, she's not very useful. But you've got really good women, junior women, yet they haven't seemed to rise to the top of this government so far. So why are they calling it so late, do you think?
I think one of the problems is that the Conservative Party has had to adjust to the fact that these really impressive women are also rebels. They're not prepared to just sit on the backbenches and do nothing. So they blotted their copybook early on, like Priti Patel.
Yeah.
This now makes her a really useful person to promote, because she's not just a woman, she's a Eurosceptic right-winger. So if you're going to sack any sort of dead wood on the ministerial ranks that's from the right, actually put Priti Patel in, you solve two problems at once.
Right. So oddly, their rebelliousness has actually increased their credentials now because they've got more respectability with the UKIP wavering voters.
And particularly also with backbenchers as well. Backbenchers who'll remain on the backbenches during this reshuffle will see people who rebelled and think they haven't been sucking up to ministers for the past 4 years, they haven't been desperate for a job to the extent that they've sort of compromised their own instincts.
So James, you know, Esther McVey is, to put it mildly, not a household name unless you remember seeing her in her telecasting days. But is this a reshuffle which, you know, will excite us journalists but is likely not to be noticed by the outside world?
I don't think it's going to cause huge waves this week, but I mean the Tory hope is that during the general election campaign the people you see popping up to defend the Tory party, to take the fight to Labour, aren't all white public school southern males. I think that's one of the things that they want to address. I think one of the other things they want to address, they want to give a sense of dynamism, of forward momentum. They're very keen to look like a kind of young, fresh government. They don't want to look like they've run out of ideas come 2015. They want to look like they've got the team in place ready to govern for another 5 years.